on Hoosier Sports Night. The women's basketball team's historic run comes to an end. And the men's basketball team names a new head coach to replace Archie Miller. This is Hoosier Sports Night. Hello, and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Brianna Ballog, and if there's one thing you should know about IU sports right now, is that there's no better place in the country to play basketball. Hoosier Nation, we have a lot to talk about. And to tip the show off, the Indiana women's basketball team's historic season has come to an end down in the heart of Texas. Our own Andrew Fish has more. Andrew?
Thanks, Brianna. The Indiana Hoosiers women's basketball team has concluded the best season in program history with an Elite Eight appearance and an upset over the #1 seeded NC State in the Sweet 16. IU finished with an overall record of 21-6 and a Big Ten record of 16-2, which is a program record in wins. Star players Grace Berger and Mackenzie Holmes both were named as Big Ten first-team members, with senior leader Allie Patberg named as second team. While this season has been as impressive as any season we've seen from the Hoosiers, it might just be beginning. All 5 starters will return next season, including Patberg, who will be entering her 7th year in school. Coach Terry Moore was rewarded with a contract extension through 2027 that will make her the highest paid coach in the Big Ten. Given the player improvement under Coach Moore, Hoosier fans can certainly expect IU to be competing for Big Ten titles next season and their eyes on the first trip to the Final Four. Brianna, back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. And flipping over to the men's basketball side of things, Johansi Salamanca has more on the hiring of new men's head basketball coach, Mike Woodson. Johansi?
Thanks, Brianna. The wait is over. Just about 2 weeks after Indiana fired Archie Miller, the university hired IU alum Mike Woodson to be the 30th head coach of the Indiana men's basketball program. The contract is for 6 years, and the former Hoosier All-American and Big Ten MVP plans to maintain cream and crimson traditions he learned during his time at the IU in the Bob Knight era, but also implement changes necessary to bring the program success. His resume includes being head coach of the NBA Atlantic Hawks and the New York Knicks, as well as a myriad of assistant coaching positions held in the NBA as well. Coaching the Hoosiers will be his first college coaching experience, but according to Woodson himself, basketball is basketball. Coach Woodson has already gotten down to work talking to the Hoosiers who entered the transfer portal at the news of Archie Miller's firing. Brianna, back to you.
Thanks, Johansi. The women's soccer team hosted the Michigan State Spartans on Wednesday. IUSTV soccer beat reporter Emma Watson was at the match and has more. Emma?
The IU women's soccer team hosted their final home game of the season at Bill Armstrong Stadium on Wednesday. Erwin Van Binnenkamp's squad carried their momentum from their last matchup into this one and outlasted the Michigan State Spartans with a score of 2-1. The Hoosiers improved to 6-4 on the season and have earned 6 wins in Big Ten play for just the 3rd time in program history. From the first whistle, the Hoosiers were dominant. Sophomore Avery Lockwood and junior Natalie Lunt dictated the midfield while the backline defenders controlled the defensive third. IU drew first blood in this game with a quick-fire shot from freshman Gabby Rennie. Rennie slotted home the first goal of her career, and IU looked to close out the half, until a defensive error left Spartan substitute Sydney Kloosterman open in the box, and she equalized just before halftime. IU's fortunes drastically changed early on in the second half when Avery Lockwood was brought down in the box. Lockwood sent her penalty shot past the goalkeeper to score her second goal of the season, and more importantly, give IU the lead. Indiana put on a defensive masterclass after Lockwood's conversion. Senior keeper Bethany Kopel had 2 important saves in the second half to seal the win. Here's what Erwin Van Binnenkamp had to say about her leadership.
Good. She's making, good saves. I think what I like about her, it's like she doesn't make many errors. and she gives us stability. And even today on the corner in the second half, she got a hand on that one and got cleared off the line, and it was part because of her. So, and then obviously the penalty save against Michigan was big time. So, yeah, she's definitely, in terms of shot stopping and some of the saves she's made, through the course of these games, has helped us a ton.
North to West Lafayette to take on the 4-5-1 Purdue Boilermakers this Sunday. The game will be at 7 p.m. and you can watch it live on Big Ten Network Plus. You can also follow along on Twitter for live in-game updates at IUSTV Sports. For at IUSTV Sports, I'm Emma Watson. Back to you.
Thanks, Emma. The rivalry game will be broadcasted live on Big Ten Network Plus at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Make sure to cheer on your Hoosiers this weekend. Indiana Track and Field completed their first outdoor meet of the season this past weekend. Day one of the Big Ten Indiana Invite ended on a good note with impressive performances from Nathan Stone in the pole vault to tie for first, and Anna Watson also securing first in the pole vault for the women. Wrapping up, Hope Purcell and Giles Etienne both took home gold for the men and women in the high jump. Day two was nothing short of impressive for the Hoosiers, as Leah Moran and Trenton Harris both took gold in the long jump. Alyssa Robinson had an exceptional race in the 400 meter, as well as Jolie Pinkston in the 1500 meter. The men's 4x400 took home bronze to finish up day two. The Hoosiers will travel next to Jacksonville, Florida this weekend to compete in the first Big Ten neutral site meet of the season. Another weekend met another Big Ten opponent for Indiana baseball, and this past weekend that opponent was Michigan State. One thing that was different for the Hoosiers showdown against the Spartans was the return of their head coach, Jeff Mercer. After being separated from the team due to COVID restrictions for the past 2 weeks, Mercer was able to travel with the team to East Lansing. IUSTV's baseball insider Sean Neef has more on the weekend series.
With head coach Jeff Mercer finally back with his team, the Hoosier baseball squad traveled to East Lansing for a weekend series with the Michigan State Spartans. In the first two games, the Hoosiers' offense looked like a juggernaut, outscoring the Spartans 18-6. IU began the weekend on Friday with their season high in hits with 14, and then set their season high for runs in the next game with 10. However, virtually overnight, the Hoosiers' offense came to a standstill in the team's final game of the weekend. IU only managed to score one run thanks to a single RBI from Jeremy Houston in a 5-1 loss. The batting drought on Sunday not only ended the Hoosiers' winning streak, but also the 13-game batting streak for both outfielder Drew Ashley and infielder Paul Tates. Despite another series win, Coach Mercer still believes there are areas where his team could improve as the year goes on.
Coaching, so much of it is timing. So like the availability to learn. And so now I can go back and be like, hey, this is what happened. Here's video. Let's reassess this. And let me go pitch to you exactly like you're going to be pitching a game. So that was a big point of emphasis initially with the offense. On the mound, we need to get off to better starts. I don't have a problem, when a guy doesn't have his best stuff or has a little bit of a shaky start, but we have to be able to control fastball. We have fastball command in the bullpen. We need to take fastball command of the game, and we need to be able to establish a fastball in the strike zone consistently.
IU will have the opportunity to make those adjustments with another series on the road this weekend against the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The Hoosiers' 4-game series with Ohio State this weekend has the potential to be a pitching classic. The Hoosiers and the Buckeyes sit atop the Big Ten in terms of strikeouts, and both teams will be looking to add a few more Ks to their name this weekend. The series will commence on Friday with their first pitch being thrown at 4 in the afternoon. Over the weekend, the Hoosiers women's golf team wrapped up play in the Clemson Invitational in Sunset, South Carolina. Inclement weather paused play on Saturday, leading to play finishing on Sunday. Senior Mary Parsons had a great weekend, shooting 2 under par in her final round to finish the weekend, tied for 14th place. Hannah Tanaka finished the weekend 18 over par, tied for 77th place. Angela Ong shot 21 over par, which was good for 84th place. Valerie Clancy shot 23 over par, which saw her finish in 87th place, and Maddie Ditto finished in 92nd place, shooting 45 over par. The Hoosiers women's team returns next weekend to play in the Indiana Spring Challenge in Sellersburg, Indiana. The men's golf team plays this weekend in the Hoosier Invite at the new foul course right here in Bloomington. The number 7 ranked Indiana men's soccer team faced its toughest test of 2021 on Sunday when they traveled to face number 11 Michigan. The Hoosiers look to maintain the pole position in the Big Ten as the regular season comes towards a close. IU struggled to get out of the gates early, absorbing a lot of pressure from Michigan, and relied heavily on sophomore goalkeeper Roman Celentano to keep things level. The match could not be decided within 90 minutes and moved into overtime. Michigan nearly won it in the first overtime period, but a strong save kept out a shot from Cameron Martin. The match was won just 40 seconds into the second overtime period, with a right foot shot from Ryan Winterbrink, taking a deflection to give IU 1-0 win in Ann Arbor. Celentano earned his 3rd consecutive Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week honor, and Winterbrink won his first award in his career, earning Offensive Player of the Week. IU wraps up the season at Bill Armstrong Stadium, needing a win or a draw against Maryland to win the Big Ten regular season title for a 3rd year in a row. Both IU men's and women's swimming diving saw success at the NCAA championships. The Hoosiers brought home 2 individual national champions, with freshman Taryn Gilliland winning the platform dive with a career best mark of 338.40, as the woman finished in 15th place at the NCAA championships. Meanwhile, the men's team, led by redshirt junior diver Andrew Capobianco, cruised to a 6th place finish in the championships. Capobianco had a career best score of 505.20 points to earn his 2nd straight NCAA championship in the 3-meter springboard. Capobianco would go on to be named Big Ten Men's Diver of the Year following the competition. This past weekend, Indiana softball took on the Michigan Wolverines in the first home series of the year at Andy Moore Field. IUSTV sports reporter Josh Bodie has more.
This past weekend, the Indiana Hoosiers took on the 25th ranked Michigan Wolverines. The series was characterized by the big inning for Michigan. The Wolverines scored 6 runs in an inning in Game 1 and 7 runs in an inning in Game 3 to sink the Hoosiers. Despite the lopsided box score, Indiana pitchers kept the Wolverines scoreless for most of the rest of the game and remained competitive in Game 1 as the big inning came in the 7th. The best game of the series was Game 2. Dominant pitching performances by Indiana pitchers Natalie Four and Emily Gooden, good defensive plays, and a solo home run by Grayson Radcliffe propelled the Hoosiers to extra innings. Despite striking out 14 Wolverines, the Hoosiers struck out 17 total times and fell to Michigan by a score of 3-1 in 9 innings. In the series finale, Michigan won by a score of 4-0, dispatching the Hoosiers and completing the 4-game sweep. The Hoosier bats were cold this weekend, scoring just 1 run in the first 3 games and were scoreless in the finale. After the sweep, Indiana's record stands at 7-9, and the Hoosiers will look to bounce back next weekend against the Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa City. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Josh Bodie. Back to you in the studio.
The series against the Hawkeyes begins Friday at 4 p.m., and the next home series will start April 16th against Ohio State. Following back-to-back road losses to Illinois, the Indiana volleyball team was supposed to return home this weekend to face the number 10 Ohio State Buckeyes in what would have been the regular season finale. However, on Wednesday, the matches were canceled out of an abundance of caution due to the COVID-19 issues with the Hoosiers program. Unless the Northwestern matches from earlier this season are rescheduled, the 3-15 Hoosiers have played their last match of the spring season. Last Saturday, up at Griggs Reservoir in Columbus, Ohio, the Indiana rowing team took a slew of teams. Number 10 Indiana grabs wins in racing action with the Varsity 8 winning in the afternoon session, putting down Iowa and Oregon State. The second 8 grabbed a win over Iowa by 2 seconds and 10 seconds over Oregon State in their afternoon session race. Saturday was also the first time in the season that the Varsity 4 boats got on the water. Next up is the Big Ten Invitational on April 17th and 18th being held in Cincinnati, Ohio. And other Hoosier teams have a busy week looking ahead, and our own Carlo Barone is here in the studio to tell us what to look forward to. Carlo?
Thanks, Brianna. A number of other Hoosier squads we haven't talked about tonight will be in action over the weekend. The water polo team welcomes the USC Trojans into town for a couple games Friday and Saturday afternoon at the Councilman Billingsley Aquatic Center. Meanwhile, the field hockey team travels to Columbus, Ohio to face the Buckeyes on Friday and Sunday in a 2-game set. And finally, the men's tennis team heads to Michigan, first stopping in Ann Arbor to face the Wolverines on Saturday before playing the Michigan State Spartans in East Lansing on Sunday. Brianna, back to you.
Thanks, Carlo. And that's our show for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at IUSTV Sports. For our production crew behind me, I'm Brianna Ballog. We'll see you next week.